going today?
Hey, what's up, Cody? How we doing?
Excited to talk to you today. You don't own an academy, but you own a business that is like an offshoot of, it's within the jiu-jitsu community.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, I mean, I really am excited to talk about it. I know you have trained in jiu-jitsu yourself as well. You have a story yourself,
Oh
and we
yeah.
can talk about that if you want. And we can talk about all about the business. Tell everybody your first and last name, the name of the business, and just like hit on what the business is first, and then we'll kinda go through, like, your jujitsu story and then kinda lead up to you, like, the story of starting the business. Does that sound good?
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm
So
all
your
for it.
first and
Yeah.
last name first?
Of course, of course. Yeah, my name is Rich Chmielewski. I'm not originally from this area. I was in the military. Found jujitsu after the military, and then within my own journey, kind of wanted to do my own thing, kind of, do a little offshoot of stuff I was playing with. And yeah, created my company. We decided to revolve around the idea of yeah, producing good gear um at a point where, it was accessible to folks. And then two, um myself, the other folks that are involved, we have that eye for just, we were in this space, we were looking at the best gear, we were seeing the best things and even using it, you know what I mean, and just thought, hey, we can do it too. We're out here, we're gonna give it a shot.
Cool. So your company is you make gis
So we
and
make gis, rash guards, shorts, and then obviously streetwear as well, just to kind of give that little bit of expression that this is kind of, the what you're jiving with. Obviously just that space as far as an artistic medium.
yeah, 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 yeah. Neato, neato. Well, start with, kinda how you got into jujitsu, and, like, you said you were in the military, and then,
Yeah.
yeah, lead up to, like, kinda just tell us the whole story, how
Oh
this came
man.
about.
So I actually got out of the military in 2018. I was in the army. I did some combatives trading when I was in, but nothing that I pursued. And then when I got out, it was, I had my own, my individual struggles. And my brother was training about a year at that point. He was training in Milwaukee, where he and I are originally from. Um, and he gave me the idea, like, try jujitsu. I had seen him in a tournament, and it had obviously, like, familiar with combatives and seeing combatives tournaments while I was in. Um, and I gave it my best, and
Okay,
I
pause 1
felt it.
second. What is combative tournaments in the military? What is
So as
that?
far as they have different names for the hand-to-hand combat systems and protocols within each branch. The Army side of things, they call it modern Army combatives, which it's just, they're, I even think
You're in the
historically.
army? You were in the
Yes,
army?
sir.
Okay.
Yep, yep. I think historically they worked with a couple different entities, maybe even including the Gracies a little bit. Just saying that this is a great basic program to get people familiarized with closing the distance, grabbing a clinch, and effectively controlling a situation before help can arrive, before your buddies can get on the scene, help you out,
So this is like
whatever.
a
So
formal training within the military, right?
yes, sir. Yeah. And I mean, the Marine Corps, they have their own martial arts program. I know the Navy and Air Force, they probably have their own derivatives. But the idea is everybody's going to have some type of, okay, this is your mount position. This is kind of how you throw a punch a little bit, just familiarization. And then you can within the programs progress to the instructor level. Um, as far as your time in goes. There's obviously the competitive aspect of those things where units will, throw tournaments and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
again, that wasn't something I was really involved with while I was in. It
yeah.
wasn't something I was pursuing heavily. I did my little, did my couple levels in it, and
Is it like you're
graduated, and
training
I graduated.
jujitsu or you're training, like, whatever they it's not ever, like, only jujitsu, it's always just whatever they want to
Well,
instill
Army
in?
specific, they look very similar to jujitsu, and a lot I think had to do with historically them using references from published systems like Gracie University and stuff that's essentially come before, um, where they're outsiders looking in as well. They're like, what's the best thing to train our people? Um, and you get people kind of involved, and eventually there comes a written doctrine, black and white, this is our program.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, that's formulated through a week-long course, and then a 2-week course, and then I think like a month-long course, um where it's just kind of your certain levels. But like I said, you graduate, you get your certificate, and maybe you never think about it again.
It's not
If
something you continue forever, and you're getting belts.
unless you're
Yeah,
pursuing it outside,
okay.
or if a guy has it, in his soul to do hand to hand stuff for PT that day, with a unit or whatever. But again, it's just going to be a bunch of strong guys colliding with each other and just trying to be strong. Truly,
Yeah,
truly.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And that was my
Sure, sure.
experience with it. And I was lifting, and as far as even graduating criteria, they wanted you to be able to explain back certain moves, essentially preparing you for your next level as you're working to become an instructor, training the next generation. So that was my experience with it. Like I said, I got out. I wanted to try something different. My brother was in it, like I said. Um, and it looked familiar. It looked like what I had seen in the military. I was like, let's go for it. And then I felt it. I was a white belt with a paired up with a purple belt in class, and got rocked, and had to come back. Had to just keep coming back to learn.
Mhm. I mean, why did you wanna come back?
Um, I felt that the training that I thought I did have meant only so much against even somebody untrained, and that if there was somebody trained, um, it made the difference. And that's what it takes. It's time on the mats. Um, and I think the idea is with this sport, it's fun. We can feel that really early on, provided the practice environment is conducive to what we're actually practicing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll feel it. You'll feel the skill discrepancy, especially if you're trying, really trying, really, really sprinting down the street, trying to get this guy, and he's, effortlessly um
Um,
controlling you, or even and stopping you from doing just basic things like even getting off the ground. They're like, man, why isn't this working?
what
So, and then talking to that same purple belt, just kind of got close with and got ingrained with that team, and found out his goals. Oh, I want to be an instructor. I want to kind of take my stuff to the next level as far as coaching. And coaching then became a very real possibility in my mind for, what this could turn into. Um, like I said, it was familiar as far as even the military goes. You essentially train to be an instructor, trained to teach the next people coming up under you. So it was kind of in me all along to, all right, learn this to the level that maybe one day I could teach it again. Especially because like I said, I felt it and I didn't know it. So that was the only way to learn it, was to come back.
was this all going on in Wisconsin or
So actually, my wife, her and I lived in Minnesota for a little bit, kind of between St. Cloud and Brainerd area, if for those that know.
I don't
But I
know.
trained, yeah, yeah, I no, you're good. And I had to train either 45 minutes north of me or 45 minutes south of me. That was the school that I got into. Um, Ran by a great guy, former WEC guy, UFC guy, ONE FC guy, named Brock Larson. Fantastic coach, and yeah, just kind of gave his best effort. And like I see, other people in the other black belts in the gym, kind of moving forward, doing their own thing, or running affiliate schools elsewhere in that area. So it kind of gave me a lay of the land as far as what the jujitsu gym landscape kind of
Yeah.
looked like, or
Right,
could
and
look
also,
like.
like, the progression of, how people, you know, carry on
Yeah,
to, being an owner or whatnot. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And we had our pros, we had our guys going to the show, and our law enforcement officers, we had our small females, and but we had our community, and that was what was important once we moved here in 2021. Um, we moved just to be, closer to family that's in this area. My daughter lives in Alabama. Um, and who doesn't like the nice beaches and stuff? So when we found this area, saw also, just the type of care that they, can provide for veterans and whatnot around here. Um, we knew that we would find, that community as well. The same, we were hoping to find a similar community to what we found up there. And truly, what we saw was just the fact that there were so many gyms in this area. It's
Oh,
incredible.
oh,
It's
okay.
a lot.
You're telling me,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're telling me, yeah.
so
I haven't moved up to, Wisconsin yet as far as,
exactly,
my
exactly.
podcast.
Oh
Yeah.
man, and yeah, I can point you to some cool folks up there to talk to. But man, there's a I guess what I had noticed more is just once we were, all kind of at our teams and whatnot. Once the community did come together, it was relatively friendly, so to speak, around here. Local tournaments, people knew each other, black belts around the area encouraged, cross training and stuff. And I was like, this is very cool, and although, there was that community, we had like it was that environment where I feel like it was growing, you know what I mean? And as far as what I was thinking it was, this area could grow with my growth, and we'll all just kind of do this together. So
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So how in the world did you get into, your company?
so
Not that
like I
it's that
said,
far stretched. I'm just saying, yeah, if I mean, do you have an artistic mind in the
yes.
first place? Yeah.
So
You
so I
always
think that's and that was not something I was pursuing in the military. I think that may have been another just draw once I did start going after it, like, hey, this is fun again. Um, but it actually, I think, kind of started it I want to give credit where it's due. Like my brother, when I did start, um, I said I was white belt and enthusiastic about it, and he was very much we were both kind of in the sneakerhead space. The hype beast era in streetwear, just kind of we were within the scene, just kind of saw this medium that was coming out as far as shoes, clothing, whatnot, and just these small details that these brands were using, where once we got into jiu-jitsu, we found he found Shoyoroll, he found Albino Preto, he found these high name brands that were essentially these fashion houses of the jujitsu scene at the time. And so he had purchased a gi that he wasn't using as much, would fit me, and he gave it to me. And this was almost $200 gi. And my brothers was just like, here, bro, like you're gonna get more use out of it than me. Like I'd love to share that wealth. So as a white belt, I'm wearing this nice gi and I'm feeling like this is like I feel good. You know what I mean? It's just part of it, I guess. And the detail that you see on these things, and if you're in the space to look for it, you see it. If you don't, that's fine. But as far as wearing a quality gi, like I said, I had it early, and then as far as when I started thinking
what
about,
was the
hey,
difference of the feeling? Tell me that. I not did yeah, to tell me like, the difference in the feeling of it.
so competition speaking wise, you're going to get a lot of different rules based off of the organization as far as the weight of the material goes, as far as what's allowed, what's not allowed, considering the fit.
Okay.
And truly, there really is no industry standard. Um, what I did notice was essentially the amount of small artistic details as far as, tagging, labeling, just those things like, oh, did you see this small detail hidden in under the lapel? Or as far as even like stitching reinforcement that was present in those gis and that wasn't present in, say, something a little more accessible. It's just there, and you can see just the amount, I guess, of effort that went into producing one of those products rather than just, hey, we're throwing a gi out on the market, so Timmy can be squared away.
Di
Um,
did you notice that the first time you put on that gi, or was it, like, something that kinda progressed as far as learning that stuff?
there were
And
there was I had 2 at the time, and there was a clear difference between just what I felt from one, what I felt from the other.
yeah.
Like I said, it was in just kind of even as far as, like, 1 row of stitching. On the other ones might have been 3 rows of stitching in the same spot or additional material used for reinforcement.
But what I'm
Um,
saying in your personal journey in your mind, were you already at the point where you're able to notice those things at that point as far as your progression as an artist, making clothing, or did you not notice those things yet? You just knew the feel of it was differently.
I recognized them as a consumer. I think that was the main thing right away. I recognized them as somebody who had been in this space and looked for that in other articles of clothing, and then found it within this new space that I was in, where I was like, "Oh man, this is fun. This is exciting. I'm looking up to these certain champions or figures in the space, and these guys are the ones that are getting, that are uh, you just saw on social media that these companies were doing their jobs at getting their clothing on the backs of world champions. You know what I
Yeah,
mean, so to
yeah,
speak. um,
got it.
but yeah, like I said, I was a consumer, man. I was buying stuff, so I uh, I knew what was out there. I kind of knew what was being introduced, and I'm like, if this is what needs to be introduced, maybe it could come in at a more accessible level, or maybe it could come in at a more local level. And there were the mom and pop gi companies at the time. Those were out there. You had to find them on Instagram and I guess order, and some of them were really doing it, even like producing new stuff every couple of months, and like, wow, that's really cool. Like, so other people can do it. Again, sort of like the, how am I gonna not make it my own, but how can I find my personal way within this art, within this thing that is actually growing. I felt it was growing.
Mm. Yeah, and then but as far as the other businesses, were the one thing that they weren't necessarily local, there were mom and pops, small,
Not at
but
all. So,
yeah,
and you're definitely seeing the higher end brands coming out of places like Southern California. Um, those, and even to go down, not weird clothing brand rabbit holes, but um certain designers and certain collabs um that was just existing because jiu-jitsu existed in Southern California as essentially a mecca early 2000s. That was where it went when it went from, well, when it sort of came up from Brazil. I
yeah,
mean, it's beach culture, it's beautiful weather. It's like, why would somebody who's used to that want to do it anywhere else? Plus, let alone, you find it's like you get into a training room and it's a lot of like surf bros now. It almost seems like and the vibe is very, we're all friends here. In a good school, you're gonna find those vibes where everybody is, like I said, about bringing each other up rather than tearing each other down. So,
mhm,
um, but like I said, that existed because that's just where those minds were at the time. Um, and yeah, you were ordering gis from California or finding something, maybe cheap online. That's fine. Again, like I said, accessibility. Maybe you pursued something mom and pop if you're kind of in the space. But then
Yeah.
how long does that brand last? And maybe even, like I said, maybe they're only doing gis, maybe they're only doing rash guards. Again, it's just kind of that uh small scale operation. So I think as I was starting and kind of and saw not a need for that, but definitely a chance for somebody else to thrive. Um, I just sort of thought like what could all be. And I had been in the business ownership space before. Um, I own a company where we clean high end residential windows and stuff, and we wear uniforms and stuff. Where I've reached out to screen printers, and I understand the space of certain blanks and certain shirts, and I was
Mhm.
like, okay, like I know what's out there. I know what I'm looking at now when I see a garment.
Yeah.
And again, that was merely because of just being a consumer, being just all right. I like wearing nice stuff. Um, but like I said, I just think the everything aligned where the opportunity was present, and it just took um a first. All right, this is the number one. Let's play with it. Um, so that started, like I said, in 2021. I was blue belt. Um, and like I said, I was purchasing nice skis, um, training around here, coaching around here, even. And at that point, um, like I said, I had talked to a manufacturer overseas. That was about the time, and just talked to him about capabilities. Um, and he was like, anything, almost sky's the limit. And I don't know if that was, again, I don't know if that was him just trying to get my business or
Yeah.
what, but it really just kind of kept me thinking of like what's outside the box, like what can we actually do with um I guess this type of medium as a vehicle, even for, like I said, my jujitsu journey at the time, my friends, my wife, my daughter, she trains, she wrestles. So I'm like, everybody needs stuff to train in. Everybody needs some good stuff. If they can feel good in it, if it can be something they're excited to have. I knew what that did for me. I knew what uh I know how it feels good. Somebody to oh, that's a cool rash guard, or oh, that's a nice gi. So I was like, let's try it. Let's try to make some stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And how did that process turn out?
So
Did it
it
work
was
all
it
right?
was great. So our first run I did actually as a sort of an outreach for another local brand that was in the area. Um I did it as a surprise to him, and to where um I got enough feedback to kind of move forward, but I could also then debut my brand as a collaborative brand. Um So what we released was a collaboration rash guard with his brand in mind, and focus around it being an experiment and a collaboration within jiu-jitsu. From there, now my logoing was on something, and although I gave those rash guards to him and that company essentially as like I said, outreach, I wanted him to be successful. I knew people were gonna scoop that up right away. And they did. He sold out. It was huge success in the community. You still
And it
people
was it be what was a part of it at that, because I know I don't wanna say you're working with um, just a random person overseas. I know you picked the person you were working with. But my
Yeah.
question is that, at that point, from the very beginning, was the quality there? And then that's a part of the reason why they're buying it, or was it for another reason?
Yeah. So, I think it I think right off the rip it needed to hit certain marks as far as what people were happy with. It basically fit material. When I when I received the actual garments, I was happy. based off of the things I was looking for, and that put it on par with what was out there as far as industry standard. Um, if that wasn't the case, I would have obviously made my adjustments maybe a little later. However, maybe I would have gone with a different manufacturer. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
how
It
but
worked out.
I was very proud giving um those rash guards to him, to that company, just because I knew what it meant to him.
Yeah,
And what it would kind of mean for his brand. And like I said, at the time, my stuff was not my focus. It was like, let's try to make this collaboration look legitimate, not something DIY essentially that he did. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So because we were able to play with all those things, I made a first release. I made my original. Um, and I was kind of keeping quantities low. And then just when that would sell out, I'd start making another one. The second drop, it involved color and shorts, the first kits, and then a couple drops later, it was an entire collection. So that's what it's been thus far, and I think that's what people have kind of resonated with. Is the fact that if like you find it, um, we've been trying to make it look like, as close to that fashion house as possible, as close to that, um, just that project with that design, intentional design.
Is it still collaborative?
Right. So it can be. We kind of we can work with anybody. We can also be, even like a silent partner if that's sort of what the brand um
Yeah.
wishes. But what we've done is we've turned into kind of our us playing around with it. Um as very much a way for local gyms, local brands to be able to bring their vision to life. Um, using garments that, for one, they can feel now, touch, and they could say, I love this garment. Let's just change this design, and then make this shirt, this whatever, these pants, these shorts, however, just with my stuff, and we can work that.
So being
But then
local,
also
that provides that. Them
correct,
being able
correct.
to physically see it and work with you. Yeah.
Correct, correct. And obviously, when it comes to the online space, we look like anybody else that's out there. Um, so the ones that work with us, amazing. The ones that haven't yet, we're yet to be discovered. But I know they won't be disappointed necessarily. I haven't had any gripes yet as far as our customers or the people we've worked with. And we've worked with dozens of brands at this point. Couple different states throughout the United States, academy owners in different states, um, and let alone our own products. At the end of the day, our website, and the products that we put out there as our lifestyle brand, it's not even so much proof of concepts. It's these are we got great creative minds behind this, and they're really like bringing out stuff that anybody I feel like would love to wear while messing around in combat sports. From gis to, like I said, even striking equipment now. Um, and then streetwear when you're not on the mats, just to kind of show what you're about, that you're kind of in the space.
Do you enjoy the designing of like the designs?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's fun. As far as like myself creating designs and taking kind of inspiration from what's out there, I don't think I would put out there something that I wouldn't wear myself necessarily. So as far as that, I know my personal attention that I put behind every collection. Um, I'd love to know that a designer cared that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Truly, if the highest level folks do, great. You know what I mean? Those fashion houses that are that are across the United States, amazing, but creative directors, they do kind of come and go, and again, we want to look legitimate. We want to look like we're there with the rest of everybody else. And over the last 5 years, I think we've done that. It it it's we have folks that um we sponsored as far as even up and coming fighters, some uh jiu-jitsu pros that have been traveling across this country, competing and stuff. So um
Awesome.
yeah, so it's become more than just just a making clothes thing at this point. Also, it really is kind of that
Yeah.
thing where we're not waiting on these brands necessarily to come and find the guys that we care about. We can start pouring into them a little bit. And even, as far as even some of these amateur fighters, where they're not needing to worry about paying to go buy a pair of fight shorts for, their big fight coming up. Some of these guys, like, we're literally putting the clothes on athletes' backs, um, to like see them shine and to make them feel at least for a little bit like a pro, and like things are going in their direction. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And if we can handle that, and they can look good and feel like, okay, like somebody that cares about this is kind of caring and pouring back into me. Oh my gosh, that's the best feeling in the world for
Yeah,
us.
I bet you get a lot out of, helping these businesses and these fighters, right?
That
Being able to,
Yeah,
like, provide
absolutely.
something that they can't get otherwise. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's cool, man. What has jujitsu done for your personal life over the years?
So I mean, I love the idea of, for one, veterans finding jujitsu once they get out. It's it's different, being in the military, and just kind of what Kool-Aid you need to drink as far as being successful while you're in. Um, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but the transition out will always feel different. And I think even as far as like getting you into the community, getting you around some like-minded individuals that want to see you succeed, it's a perfect spot for that. Um, like I said, I just pointed out, I started out by pointing out veterans, but now anybody finds that, and I believe it can give somebody that true resiliency in their lives. Um, whether they just need to take a breath sometimes and not panic. I mean, it has all of that in the physical, in the uh metaphysical, where the whole jujitsu saved my life thought process comes from. However, um yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect for people that are just wanting to make that change. It just takes some effort, and but if you're willing to put the time in, it's everything. It's everything, everything you want it to be.
Do you feel like that resilience that you learned from jujitsu help you figure this out, the whole clothing thing? I mean, I know
Yeah,
it's not
I
easy doing all that. You're figuring it out. It's actually more about figuring it out than anything, right? So
yeah.
there must have
So
been some resilience there.
I think it centered me a lot more, back to just kind of why I was doing it. On days where we did want to maybe scrap stuff or go in a different direction. Again, just sort of the impact we can make on people. Um, I'd said earlier I had gotten into coaching, and I know that hands-on role is obviously there. I know that uh as far as like me having that direct impact on somebody in jujitsu's lives, that's gonna always be present. People will always pursue me to, for coaching with me and stuff. I mean, I can be in the community where I'm available in that regard. Now, I can't be everywhere at once. So the brand fits that criteria. It can be, um, this thing that, like I said, sponsorship speaking, we can take people or help people elevate in that next level. Brand ownership speaking, we can help your brand elevate their image. Academy owner speaking, mom and pop academy owner, we can get you custom gis, get them at a point where you can include them in your membership, something like that. But
Mm.
again, just really help bring the community together as opposed to we're over here doing our thing, you go over there and we won't have problems. See, that's never been the move with us. We've been what do y'all need? Let's make friends, let's hang out, let's talk.
Cool.
Um
And what like, is it you're still coaching, right? Do you
yes, sir.
enjoy that back and forth? I mean,
Oh
doing that
yeah.
as
Oh yeah.
well
Yeah,
keeps you grounded in
absolutely.
a certain way?
Yeah, we did as far as even my own, like I said, my personal grounding is great that I can learn jiu-jitsu and teach grappling. As far as how I teach even to put it in hand with my brand, I feel like I do encourage that environment of experimentation within our practice room as well. So, um, as folks are kind of playing around with grappling or enjoying grappling, they're doing it right away. Um, in that you feel things, you're gonna feel if something doesn't work. Um, and that's fine. Just adjust. You know what I mean? I think that's exactly where I can say it goes hand in hand. I felt the things that didn't work as far as getting this brand to where it is today, and it's okay to stop something if you need to dead in its tracks and just kind of move in a different direction, or have stuff on a list that hadn't even been touched, just because it didn't work out. But again, we just what's the lay of the land? Did it, if it's necessary, it'll happen. If it's not, maybe it'll just kind of give it some space, give it some time, feel it out. That's kind of a big thing. But again, it's just like let's be authentic. Let's just put these true things that are out there. Let's just present them in a way, like I said, that this can be a vehicle for the community even.
Yeah. What, to wrap it up, what would you like to say to the people you've collabed with? The businesses and the athletes and, your clients that you've had?
Oh man, I just to them, I mean, thank you. Number one is just is the start. Folks can is a free market. Folks can go anywhere with their money nowadays, and the world is a up and down place, and it's not easy coming around, a dollar one, nowadays. But
Yeah.
if you're choosing for one to vibe with us, that already speaks volumes. You know what I mean? I know it's because a lot of people believe in us and believe in our message. That's amazing. So truly, I appreciate that. Um, the businesses that we've worked together. I mean, y'all know me. Y'all know what we've done, what we've created, and just within that, we can all step that up as we go forward. I know that we're going to be increasing our capabilities. So even as new products come out, um, I know that these guys are going to be happy to see what that can do for their brands, what that can do for their gyms or their promotions. Um, as far as customization and just accessibility of quality, um, and design aesthetic that's at the level, if not higher than some of the best brands out there. I know that's what we bring to the table. And so as far as even the future goes, we're only becoming more permanent in this area. We're only becoming more established. And I truly think that you're going to see our logo just popping up more and more and more places. not necessarily even on rash guards, but in facility design, you know what I mean? Like I said, striking equipment. Um, and this is, like I said, this is not about us growing essentially. You know what I mean? It's us growing to help everybody else grow, and to be able to offer these things. So, um, like I said, we have our sights set on the best brands in the space, um, and we're looking to bring it. You know what I mean? Give them a run for their money, essentially.
And you're in Northwest Florida, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're outside of Pensacola, in the Milton Pace area.
Mhm.
But yeah, like I said, as our space becomes more permanent, like I said, it's just the sky's the limit, you know, and our impact, like I said, it's going to be communal as well as worldwide, I believe.
Well, thanks, man, for your really cool story, dude. And
Yeah, yeah,
for all of the grinding that you've had to do to build what you have done, what you've built, and being so innovative, and the way you're going about it, your kind attitude and willingness to, um, help people and work with them, that's pretty cool, man. Yeah, I think that's what's
definitely
going to
shine,
keep
man.
pushing you. And, the way you're going about it, you're wanting to help them grow. Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
all,
man.
yeah, you're trying to grow their brand as well.
Yeah, we can definitely yeah. Feel free to like I said, our so if I can, our website is alefl.com. Feel free to get with us. Our Instagram is at a_lifestyle_experiment. Um that's our museum. You can kind of see some of the stuff we've done over the course of time. And truly, I just wanna thank the people of this area to just for allowing us the opportunity to get this ball rolling, to become a legitimate contender against some of these bigger brands in the United States. But then too, like I said, still give this to this quality to everybody at a point that can be accessible, is a little we feel is a little more accessible, for everybody to just feel good in their journey, to feel good in the space, and bring what they need internally to the training room, to the competition mat, or even just out into the community, as far as what they're choosing to put on their back. You know what I mean? We want to be there for y'all, definitely, definitely. So please feel free to reach out, anybody.
Yeah, man. Let's have you on again like several months from now. Let's see, get an update how everything's going.
Let's
I know it's a
let's run it.
continuous
We got
progression.
some,
Yeah,
yeah, we got some excited stuff down the
I think
pike.
that'd be
So
good.
we'll talk about it more,
Maybe we
Cody. I
can even
really
do something in person. If you're local. Yeah,
I
I'm
love it.
local.
Let's do it, man.
Close.
Yeah, definitely. We'll link up for sure.
All right, bro. Well, I hope you have a good day. Hope you have a night. Oh, it's hot outside. I know. I'm about to go outside and do stuff.
Sorry,
uh,
man. Me too.
I hope you have an amazing day. So nice to talk to you. I really, really appreciate it, man. And thank you for
Hey,
what you're doing for everybody.
you as well. Thank you for what you're doing, sharing the story of grappling, especially to folks that necessarily aren't in the scene. I think that's really, really cool. And yeah, definitely impactful, and it helps our story as well, you know what I mean, as folks that are just trying to grapple and
Yeah.
scrap and just pursue this perfection, that's out there.
I think the sport of jujitsu, the martial art, it attracts or it produces, either way, really good people, you know, and I think that's a big part of the reason why these stories are really good, man. So yeah, no, for sure. That's why I'm trying to get it out. All right, bro. I hope you have a good day, dude. I'll talk to you soon. All right.
Appreciate you, Mr. Cody. Thank you, sir.
All right, dude. Peace.
All right, bye.
Hey, Jamie. What's up, man?
Hey, thank you for having me on.
Yes. Oh gosh. I mean, you're the star. Thank you so much for saying yes and for sharing everything with us. Just trying to show everybody like what jujitsu is doing for people. Um, can you start with just like your first and last name, the name of the place, and tell us about the academy, what you guys offer there?
Jamie Williams. I started training jiu-jitsu in 2004. Always been under the Pedro affiliation, and I was a finance guy prior. So just like probably many other people
So no more?
uh,
No more?
that start. No, I don't do that anymore.
Okay.
Started in
Congrats.
start. Thank you. It was a break for. I did fairly well and made pretty good money in that, but I didn't want to continue down that path. And
Hey, I used to be in real estate, man. Same thing, you know.
yeah,
Got
and then
bored.
your weekends are gone too. We
Oh
spent our
yeah,
weekends.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so just like anybody else, probably I picked up wanting to learn jujitsu because of the early UFC matches and Hoist Gracie, and I'm of age or that was impactful to us finding it, and my brother and I both watched and searched for jujitsu academies. And there were a couple available when I had started here in Atlanta, in the Atlanta market, which is where my academy is. Um, but they were so far away, and I was a young professional, and I had to work. So as soon as there was an academy available within drivable distance, my brother and I jumped right on it and signed up together. So it was really cool that I was able to do that with him.
With your
And
brother. That's cool, yeah.
yeah, we spent many years training together, and then life and kids and things start happening, and he owns an insurance company, so he went a different path, and but I ended up continuing on with jujitsu, and I'm super grateful because the impact that it, like you mentioned, one of the reasons why you're doing the podcast is to expose and exploit all the cool things that jujitsu does for people's lives. And being an academy owner, I have had front row seat to watching a lot of really really cool things happen. And I'm grateful that we're the largest program in my area of Metro Atlanta, and probably the oldest in our immediate area. Um,
Did
so it's
Marcelo
just been
train there before?
no, Marcelo,
Okay,
when he was up here in Atlanta, I think he actually was with Alliance for a little while, but when he
okay.
went and moved down to Florida, he ended up becoming affiliated with us. But that's
I just knew
I'm
Atlanta, I
glad that
couldn't remember, yeah.
yeah, he was up here in Atlanta before we moved down there. Um, yeah, and I was working every day, and I had numbers and people were hounding me on the job, and I quit my job. I didn't have kids, I didn't have a wife, so I was pretty free to make a decision at that point to do something different with
Like,
my
what's that?
life.
Like, I got 2 kids,
Yeah.
9 and 3. I can't even remember, man. I mean, I'm telling you. Oh, they went away yesterday to go somewhere to go have dinner with her granny or something. They're gone for, like, 3 hours. I think it was the first time I've been alone in the whole year, probably. And I was driving in the car, I'm like, "What's different, man?" I was just going to the bank. "What's different?" "Oh, I'm alone in the car for the first time for, like, 6 months, man."
Silence.
Weird. So,
You
yeah,
forget.
it is a different life when you're Mhm.
Yes. Well, I'd quit my job and literally did jujitsu and played the guitar every day for like about a year and a half, year and a half. And that was at a point where I knew I had to like get myself back together and start going back to work. So I had a friend of mine that owned a boxing gym, a guy I knew anyway. It was called Title Boxing. I have a little bit of boxing background too, and martial arts. And obviously, I'm primarily a jiu-jitsu academy now, but had a little striking background. And so the guy's like, "Hey, come and just teach classes or be an instructor over here." So I was like, you know what, maybe this would be a good way to segue back into professional life. So I went over
Okay, yeah.
and tried to be a coach at this place, and I realized really in the couple days that I wasn't prepared to go back and take direction from someone else. I wasn't
Oh,
ready to jump back in the professional world. And so
sure.
I told the guy, I said, I don't think I can work for someone quite yet. But I tell you what, if things don't work out with the guy that you have running the place, call me and I'll manage
Oh,
this
like
place
that
for you.
position.
Yeah, and I'll do something along that area, and literally 3 weeks later, he calls me up. It's like, "Let me take you to lunch," and we sat down.
Really?
We made a deal, and so I started managing this place. And one of the things I found out was that about 8 months in, so this was like I said, primarily boxing gym. It was only boxing actually. Fitness and cardio was its primary focus when I got there. So I start teaching, and these members are coming to me, and they want to quit, and I'm like, "Why do you want to quit?" And they're like, "Well, this is a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, but it's the same thing over and over and over." And I mean, a punch is a punch, and I'm like, "Well, kind of, but I get what you're saying." So I said, "Well, what do you guys think about trying to train jujitsu?" And it was a few, it was probably like 10 of them, and they were like, "Well, we'll try it. I don't really know what it is, but" so I started teaching jujitsu in a boxing ring, at a title boxing gym, and I get an email from, uh, the owner, and they were like, "Listen, what are you doing?" And I'm like, what do you mean?" "So what is this jujitsu you're doing at the school?" Now, mind you, when I started this, I charged them $50 more a month to take jujitsu, out
Okay.
of this boxing ring, and they committed to it. Well, they called me, and they were like, the owner, and it's like, "Go look at your email." And so I go pull up my email, and it's a picture of me in the middle of at the boxing ring with, this girl, and I'm in her guard, so she's got her legs wrapped around
Yeah, yeah,
me,
yeah.
and because I had cameras and I'm
Yeah, yeah,
smiling, there's like 10 people around the ring looking at us, and they're like, "What are"
yeah,
they're like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "It's jujitsu," and they're like, "Yeah, well, it looks a little precarious." And I was like, I thought they were joking
yeah,
with
yeah.
me. So, I probably pushed the envelope more than I should at the moment when they were saying that, because they were like, "No, no, we're serious.
They're serious, yeah.
We can't have physical contact like that." And I was like, "Well, what do you mean physical? It's a boxing gym."
Yeah,
"Well, we've been meaning to talk to you about that too." And I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" "Well, I know you've had them sparring and stuff, but our business model is cardio kickboxing. We just want them hitting the bag." And I was like, "Well, I've been doing that for months. Nobody said anything about them hitting each other or anything, you know?"
um,
"Well, now we want you not to do that either. So you can't do jujitsu, and you can't have them hitting each other anymore." And I was like, "Wow. So what do you want me to do and tell these folks, because they're paying $50 more a month to train
uh,
here? They're gonna quit." And, they were like, "Just tell them to give them their money back, and that you can't do it anymore. Doesn't fit our business model." And, so I did it.
love
And
it.
3 weeks later, a team of the people that had been taking my classes had pulled up 15 grand, $15,000, and they came and handed it to me and said,
Really?
Go find us a jujitsu school." And I was like, "What?"
Wow.
Now 15 grand wasn't enough to go open a school, but it was, moving,
Yeah.
and I was like, "You know what? Maybe they're onto something, and I'll try this." And I had just gotten my brown belt, so I wasn't even a black belt at the time, and, I was like, "You know what? Let me try this and let's commit. If they're willing to do it, then other people will be willing to do it, I guess." So
Mhm.
I was like the first Daisy Fresh is a academy that, started out of a dry cleaner. Well, that's how I started. I was actually the original dry cleaner jujitsu school. I feel like,
And
in 2014, I had no heat, no air conditioning. It was this old in-unit, drive-through, dry cleaning, shop that I went and found, and,
okay. Wow.
that was in
That's funny.
2014. And that's how I became a jujitsu instructor, basically. It chose me, and now here we are 12 years later, and it's been really incredible experience. Some of the things I've got to witness and watch people's growth has probably been some of the most rewarding things that have happened. I don't make nearly the kind of money that I did before, but we are helping out like you're doing, getting these stories out to people is a big thing. So we started a nonprofit organization called the Mighty Hands, and we're doing help with jujitsu, not just here, but around the world. We got back, my wife and I, from a trip from Ukraine just a couple months ago, where we did a few seminars in Ukraine, and literally one of the locations that I did a seminar was across the street where they had bombed a um, what do you call it? Where do you have babies? It is a what kind of hospital is that? When you have baby, it's a
Oh, pediatric. Yeah,
yeah.
pediatric.
It was a what? Yeah, where it was a you know what I'm saying,
A
and that
birthing
that was its
hospital.
bomb literally. Yeah.
Wow.
Just a couple days before we were there.
Wow.
Anyway, we were able to raise some money and help out while we were there, and that's kind of some of the things that we've been fortunate enough to be a part of through this journey of jujitsu.
Neat. Is jujitsu was jujitsu itself a part of the reason why that helped you forge your way to struggle and open up that place? Was it jujitsu itself? Was that a part of it, or was it just to get something like a business going? Or
Well,
um,
yeah, no, it was the drive and the desire from the students that I had started working with
yeah,
that wanted to continue.
y-
So it was a desire that they had that I wanted to meet. I just wanted to help fill this gap, and I wasn't doing anything anyway.
yeah,
So I was like, "Let me try it, and let's what can go wrong?" And so I jumped on board, and it took off. Honestly, I mean, it took off until I started off in this little place. It was like 1,400 square foot. It was little bitty, uh, but within a short time frame, I started making money, and I was like,
mhm.
"Wow!" Because it was such a small place. There was a
Yeah,
restaurant
yeah.
restaurant next to me had went out of business, and my landlord came to me and offered me this deal that I couldn't refuse to take over. Now we're right around 5,000 square foot, so we have a pretty good sized facility, um, and I took it over early because the opportunity was there, but it really set things back a little bit because I had way more overhead. I didn't have as many students to cover that overhead. And right when I started getting my feet in the ground with balancing out financially, COVID hit. And then now I had to restart again. And so it's been a road of up and down, but I think because of the foundation that was laid initially and the culture that we have at our academy, it has a lot to do with more about that than what about me. The academy wasn't really built around me as an individual. So
What was their initial reaction to jujitsu when you started to teach jujitsu at the boxing place?
wow. That
Really?
was it. Wow, they were unbelievable of the, way that they can move around. But mind you, most of these students were, coming to this boxing place because they wanted cardio kickboxing, so there was a lot of females in the group. I wanna say when I first started, it was 70 to 80% girls
Mhm.
in the class. That switched now. We obviously are 80% guys in the academy now, but we have a good sized group of girls.
Was the complexity of jujitsu a part of the reason their excitement went from, so bored with this punching air to, I mean, was it
I find that light bulb happens quite often, and you can see that early on with a lot of people, but then there are some people that take it a little while longer for it to click. What I find, is that at the very beginning, trying to learn jujitsu, your first day, you will know if you never wanna do it again, and then people
sure.
don't show up. However, then there's those people that aren't quite sure, and if they're not quite sure, those are the people that need to can stick with it because it could take a week, and then they're like, "Oh, wow." It could take 3 months, and they're like, but that will eventually click, and when that does, they fall in love with it, and those are the people that get hooked for life, you know what I mean? When they really are trying to understand, they value, uh the puzzle that jujitsu offers, the mental struggles and challenges that you're able to overcome, not just by problem solving under the fly, but mentally, but also doing it physically. So
Mhm.
it's really hard to really let people feel what it does for you and that confidence without getting a chance to get down there and feeling it when you really know I can move this person that's twice my size. It's pretty eye-opening, and I think that was one of the things that got some of these females. We go and do these seminars with my wife. Well, we do them for the city of Milton here, and our nonprofit does it. Well, she does a lot of the demonstrations. We work in some of the churches here. When she gets a chance to get up and shows her hip tossing me, for an example, the crowd goes wild, and they automatically want to learn how to do that because she's 115, 20 pounds smaller than I am, and she's able to throw this big guy. It immediately, I think people are impressed by that for sure, and want to be able to do that.
The Mighty
But then there
Hands,
are
what exactly do y'all do? What I know it's a nonprofit, but what is like,
Yeah,
what are you doing? Yeah.
yeah, our mission is to forge protectors, to help vulnerable people. That's what we're doing. So we are teaching teachers how to protect themselves against right now the climate in schools, not just these mass shootings and things that we're seeing, but these kids are talking back to their teachers. They don't know how to handle themselves. So it's focused a lot on educating and working with teachers. So we do a lot of that. We set up seminars and raise money for people that are coming here and want to assimilate into the country, and we get them turned. We work with people that have PTSD, that have gone through a lot of trauma, and we use jujitsu as a form of therapy. We're working with people in Ukraine right now, with a counseling center that they're dealing with a lot of people that have come off PTSD from war right now.
So one of them that you just mentioned was really intriguing to me was people who are coming here from overseas, and you you're just helping them
Yeah, so
because
our
they could be
academy
in
even
vulnerable situations, of course. Is that
yes,
correct?
yeah, we even adopted one of our, one of my kids. I have 5 kids. One of them is a Ukrainian refugee. He lives with me for the last couple years. One of my star students even. But watching opportunity of helping people, and that's just basically what we do. I've got an Iranian family that's at our school that we help take care of, and when it comes to jujitsu, and we just kind of just spreading what it can do and how it can impact people that are in vulnerable situations, and we're obviously doing that too with a very biblical approach too. So
Ah,
it's kind of a main
really
part of
cool.
our.
I got it written down. I'm gonna check it out. What would you tell people who are thinking about getting into jujitsu? I mean, what kind of advice? What would you tell them? Um, what would you tell them that how can jujitsu help them in their lives, in their personal lives?
It's being able to spread this through words, like you said, is super hard. It really, really is. So I generally try to explain it through stories, um, or things that I've seen happen through other people. If someone said, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing jujitsu," the first thing I'm gonna say is it's going to impact and change your life for the better, and there's nothing that you're going to get out of it that's going to negatively impact your life. By training jujitsu is only going to enhance it in a positive way. Now, mentally for yourself, I've told people this: if you're a bad dude, you're a bad guy, and you learn jujitsu, well, it's going to make you a really great villain. You can be a
Yeah.
really bad guy by learning it if that's the avenue you want. But if you want to be a good guy and you want to be a great guy, well, it's going to be able to enhance you to do that too. These individuals have a choice to make once they learn how to really apply the jujitsu, and they've been able to take the time and sacrifices it takes to really get this far and get good at it. Some of those sacrifices can come just by simply being on the mat and just repeating these movements over and over and over. I've seen it impact it. I have a story where I had a kid. He had social challenges. And I think a lot of us that end up picking up jujitsu may have dealt with issues like that initially too, where this kid had Asperger's, and he uh, he didn't want to come and train at all. I think he had a lot of problems assimilating into a team atmosphere to begin with. His parents were bringing him in just at the beginning and would tell me that we tried all the other sports. And every time he would have to go from one sport to another, he had to learn with a whole new team of kids, a whole new coach. So he was having to assimilate each time. And it was overwhelming for this kid that had social disorders.
Well, because
So
they're
they
seasonal, that's a part of that. right?
That's right,
Yeah.
that's exactly right. So when the parents found out that this is non-seasonal, that you could do this all, we're gonna stick him here and see what happens. That
Yeah.
way he can, and he didn't wanna be there either. And because it's
Yeah.
super physical and he's
Yeah.
uncomfortable all the time. And so I found a way to kinda work with this kid, and that I didn't really force him to do any of the sparring or rolling at intense levels at all.
Um,
I just made him do the technique, and that was pretty much it. And now fast forward over a year of this to where I've actually got him comfortable. He's almost social, interacting with other kids, not greatly, but way different than he was initially. Um, so I'm talking a good year of just coming in, doing technique, and then leaving. Well, he was in class. He had a kid that was in his grade, another boy, and he was athletic. This kid was good, actually. He ended up not sticking with it and moved on, but and it's sad because he was really, really good and natural athleticism. And and he was in this class, and he knew this boy had those struggles. He knew it. And one day when a pretty girl from their class came in, and that boy wanted to show off in front of that girl. And we were doing sparring this day. And that boy called out this kid with Asperger's. I'll roll with him. I'm going to roll with him. He was going to whoop up on this boy in front of that girl. And me and the other instructor who were there that day. We
such is
saw what
life.
was happening. We were like, look, I know what's going on here. But we had never put this boy to the test. We were like, you know what? Let's see what he's got. Here's an opportunity. Let's just see what goes down. So we stuck him out there, and that boy whooped up. I mean, he turned it on, and just out of nowhere, I mean, it was wild. It was completely the other way around to everybody. And what that
Yeah.
one boy thought was it, and he changed that day, and he wanted to continue and wanted to learn more, and started changing other aspects in his life. So I would say that, like I said earlier, if somebody said, "Would you train jujitsu?" I said, "The benefits are gonna come, but they're not might not come in a week. It might take a year later, like this boy did, but when it does, you're gonna be able to implement these changes in your life immediately,
Yeah.
and they're
I guess
gonna
one
get
of
a lot of value."
one of the biggest starting points with it is the fact that it's year round and it's constant, right?
Yeah,
And you're not moving on, every season. Yeah, you're not getting out of those weird relationships or those uncomfortable environments or situations or anything. You're pressing on, continuously growing, right? Yeah,
that's right.
that's cool, man.
This also offers an opportunity for those people that are dealing with those struggles in life to a place to come, and express that with their friends. They become friends, and after you get to rolling for a while, physically, if I roll with somebody that I haven't rolled with in a while, and they're having a bad day, I can feel that in the roll. I can feel how they're responding, and I can feel if they're relaxed and having a good day, or if something's on their mind, and that allows us to open up the door to communicate with each other too. And we have a really great culture at my academy where if somebody sees that or feels that, literally, like, "Hey, you okay? Is there anything we can do for you?" And so now you're building friendships. So it comes with a lot more than just your own personal growth. You're getting community, you're getting family, you're getting to be a part of something bigger than yourself. So, if you appreciate those kind of things, then jujitsu is an awesome place to be.
We'll wrap it up with this. Can you just tell us kinda like, is there anything that makes your academy, really unique and special?
Well, I would just like to say the culture in itself. You know, I had a guy drop in today. We just finished lunch class. He is an officer out in Austin, and he'll probably be writing a review. It was amazing the feedback I got from the guy before he left. It was his first day here at Micah. He had tried 5 other academies around us. He said it's night and day difference. The culture, and we were welcoming, and you could feel that from the time that he went check out our website to the time that he finished the class. Everybody was there. And I would like to think that jujitsu in general is going to kind of create that.
Yeah.
I would like to think that there's a lot of specialty about our academy. I hear it, but um, when you get rolling around on the ground with somebody, and you're trying to choke them, and twist their arms in ways that it shouldn't go, the process of that over time, you bond with these people, regardless if you liked them initially or not. And, you know, it's hard to think that once that's happened, you've established that you would have any strife between people. So it's
Yeah.
hard for me to assume and think that there's negative cultures in jujitsu out there, and it might just because we have just an incredible culture in our academy. But you know, I think jujitsu across the board kind of festers and manifests, um, you know, a relaxed, more chill type vibe than going to learn like MMA, for an example, where you're just striking,
Sure,
you
sure.
know, that tough type mentality. Um, you know, and there's nothing wrong with having that will, but hopefully that answered your
Yeah.
question. Listen, what you're doing is awesome. I just want to say too, reaching out and getting the word to people's academy and so that people could see how amazing jujitsu can impact. It's important to me. I have a passion for it. Meeting people like you that are willing to go out and expose this to it means a lot to small guys like myself who didn't become world champions that ended up with jujitsu schools that will have guys come out of their academy that are world champions.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I really appreciate it, man. Um, let's have you on again. We'll talk some more stories. I think you have a lot. It sounds like you have a lot of cool stories.
I've
Yeah,
got a lot more of them.
looks
Yes,
really
I
good.
do.
I'll reach back out like in several months or something. That'll be good. I hope you have a great day, man. Thank you so much for being on. It's really, really nice to meet you. And thank you for your story, man.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Off.
Take care, man. Peace.